It's a great day. Hello. So you've seen my face before, whatever the face reveal is supposed to be. Was it like 100 subscribers, 3.14, whatever. Well, you already saw my face before, so pretty much undermine the whole thing. I mean, if it gets to that point, it would have to be a face unreveal, which would... I'm not actually sure how that would work. Well, so, how many of you like nature? You know, trees, birds, a few cats. I'm not sure if that counts as nature, but yeah, they're animals. Animals are good. Just ask Brock. I mean, anyone who's read Crystal Silveria would know who Brock is and how much he likes animals. I mean, to be fair, he's a forest gnome, and anyone who plays D&D would know that forest gnomes have kind of a connection or whatever with animals. They can speak to birds or whatever. Actually mentioned in the elder sibling. Yeah, his bunch of animals relay communicating to Brock, letting him know that his sister is on her way to meet him. And for those of you who haven't read the series, then you have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about, so let's just move on. So, why am I doing a blog now after having my channel open for a while? Only posting videos this year? Well, better late than never. I mean, obviously. But clearly I still have no idea what I'm doing or finding my niche, but, you know, getting there, I suppose. Might as well just keep this thing rolling, chatting, finding out any beats that happen to come up so that it doesn't, you know, stretch out the video too. Well, okay, I may have deliberately done those ones, but it's humor. It's everyone needs a laugh, and if that wasn't funny, then I'm just awkward. But you know, better adorkable than one time I need a good portmanteau and nothing. Oh well. If I think of one, it's going to be well after this moment, so... Yes. Sorry. A little bit of daydreaming. A little hint of deja vu. Maybe... Oh wait, no. No, it's... For those of you who are interested, it's actually quite a bit warmer here than you'd think. So, not exactly cool as a cucumber pickle wreck or whatever. Be confession time, I've never watched Rick and Morty, but maybe one day I'll get around to it. I like a good alternate reality themed whatever. I mean, would be the perfect opportunity to plug my online series because that whole thing is alternate worlds, so... But, you know, it is what it is. Pretty sure that's going to be my catchphrase now, but... Feel free to meme or whatever. Just realized lately I say or whatever a lot. Could be a subtle reference to another series I've written, which is what is apparently actually not that terrible and actually pretty funny fanfic, which I may discuss in another video, but I don't know, fanfics are a bit niche, So ironic, because the aforementioned series, Crystal Silveria, started as a D&D fanfic before it spun off, evolved, and became its own separate thing. Removing pretty much everything that was D&D specific or licensed or whatever, but I prefer originality over same old, ripping off other people's ideas. Doesn't mean my series aren't full of the usual tropes and hero's journey and all that. It just means that I try to do my own thing with it, and also a lot of the time subvert what people think is going to happen. In other words, they expect something is going to play out a certain way, and then there's a twist on it, which is just mind-blowing. It's like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. Oh. But then sometimes it looks like I'm going to subvert it, but then it comes across that it's going to be just a failed subversion, and then it ends up being subverted anyway. Shout out to TV tropes. Definitely check them out, especially if you are into writing scripts or whatever. It's to learn quite a lot about tropes. Plus, the site is actually quite funny itself. Maybe someone should do a fanfic about TV tropes. Maybe that someone is going to be me. Oh well. Suppose I need something to do in my spare time. Which at the moment is in oodles, bucket loads, some third synonym. I suppose it would be a second synonym to the first synonym to the you know what I mean. Words are my thing. Alright, we have traffic. Lots of traffic. Welcome to Melbourne. It's funny, I moved here at the start of the most recent lockdown, so I've been able to see firsthand the whole city go from basically sleeping in every day to probably how it usually is. I don't really have any first-hand experience, and I've just realized my face has probably been in the middle of the frame much. Yeah, I thought I was going to say it is what it is, but I actually just did. For explaining that I wasn't going, that I didn't. That's exactly what I mean, subverting a subversion. Sometimes it is accidental, but it is always important to take credit for it if you are the one who said it and no one else thought of it. Possibly. Which is a little bit too humble. But self-confidence in small doses is a winner. Or something. Yeah, I thought I was going to say or whatever. Yeah. Sometimes I like fresh material. Oh! And sometimes, whenever I'm writing a script or something, I like to have characters who have clearly predefined speech patterns and catchphrases, swap them around. So that one character speaks as though they're a different character. A lot of the time it's just playfully mimicking each other, unless you do a whole body swap episode or arc. Incidentally, my Splatoon fanfic had. Just wanted to do an episode that was just all hard sci-fi, but obviously with inklings. Hashtag Inkleaker. And since I moved here, I've found that this whole thing of architecture and nature sort of blended together in harmony. It's like everywhere you go, there's always really nice buildings, beautiful buttresses, and of course, plenty and plenty of foliage. Anyone who has seen my newest summing up blank in one word video, which It's only the second, but I'll probably make a series out of it, you know. And another idea I have is to pick a list of words, one for each letter of the alphabet, and then one that doesn't necessarily start with a letter. You just say each word so many times in alphabetical order until it just sounds completely bonkers and ridiculous, and I might actually use those words. Actually, no, I won't, because then you'll expect them, and as I said, I'm all about surprising my surprises, and apparently a little faux pas every now and then. So, yeah. I mean, easy to get distracted here. Sometimes I walk through areas that I don't visit too often, but I've definitely been through before and in a certain direction, and somehow I still manage to find myself amazed. Yeah. The city is beautiful for what it is, which is, you know, exactly what it is. It might have been Victoria. I mean, you come to Melbourne and say that it's Sydney or Adelaide or Wagga Wagga, and people would say, but no, that's Bed Square, or oh wait, no, that's okay, I don't know all the places here, but I'm getting there. Like, what I need is a crew, social circle, or at the very least a drama club, or partner, boyfriend, some form of relationship, friendship, or other kind of ship. Just realized my very small series fan base, which I suppose is probably more likely to be called a cult following, probably has its own stigma or whatever, but the fan base of my series, they probably have their own ships in mind for the characters. I'd say one of them would be shipping Mac and Emily, but that's pretty much their story arc, like their unrequited romance, which then leads to them, well, if you read the episode The Lonely Orc one, you'll know. Well, say Brock, being the master of breaking the fourth wall that he is, gets a front row seat in his dreams. Because apparently he has some kind of weird gnome claircognizance of whatever. It's funny because his element is wood, which just plays up the whole him being a forest gnome thing, but then all of his siblings are forest gnomes as well, and they're not, like, their attribute isn't wood. So I would say that you'd think that would make Brock just a generic bare bones Omnomno of the series, but he has his own quirks and characteristics that make him him. Yeah, you heard me. Sweet sound of birdsong. Oh, speaking of getting distracted, like lots and lots of little shinies, I could also say, ooh, pigeon, because it seems freaking adorable. Wherever you go, look in any corner or near any place that has food or just where people generally hang out, and you'll see a bunch of pigeons. Just, I suppose, a flock of pigeons. I'm going to be strictly accurate terminology. And yeah, but then there are places where there are just so many pigeons, it's like, whoa, I didn't know there were this many pigeons in the whole country, let alone outside this library. Next to the QV Sundial. Oh, and I didn't realize pigeons had so many different plumage patterns. I mean, 11 years I was living in the Gold Coast, they were pretty much just basic grey, iridescent green and or purplish around the nape of the neck or whatever. But here, so you have brown pigeons and black and white splotchy pigeons that look a little bit like magpies, and so there are a few one-offs, at least from my perspective, but I don't know, I probably need to rehydrate before I try to fine-tune a recollection of those. And those just have a photographic memory, so if I remember, or when I remember, I will maybe let you know. Or maybe start my own little pigeon decks. And every time I see a image pattern that I haven't seen before, or that I haven't taken a photo of, take a photo of it, add it to the decks, come up with some little silly name or something that seems thematic, and yeah. Maybe one of those will be a Pidove plush, because Pokemon. I'm not going to say Pidgey because it is not a pigeon, it is more of a sparrow, I guess. Yeah, Pidgey, not pigeon. I mean, even this Japanese name doesn't suggest that it has anything to do with pigeons. I mean, Pidgeotto does, because its Japanese name is just literally Pigeon, but that doesn't quite count. Also, Pidgey's name in Japanese is Popo. Yeah. As in, sounds like the color of its... Yeah, never mind. If you get it, then you're probably already giggling, but if not, then you may still be giggling at my ability. Well, that sounds like a superpower that would either be amazing in the right situation or just sad if you are alone. There's no one who can indulge in it with you. I wonder if I should edit this footage, like, to trim out a lot of the beats, but then that may detract from the joke I said earlier, which I repeated now because, you know, running gags, another win for the story slash character writer slash portrayer slash, you know, let's just say characters and stories are my thing, and leave it at that. Hence why I'm supposed to be an artist or something. Yeah, I'm kind of new here, and with lockdown only recently ended, from the perspective of the locals, I've maybe been here a few weeks. I was suddenly there one day, and well, the temperature has actually dropped enough for this jacket to not quite be boiling me. Or stewing me, or maybe something that doesn't sound so gross. I don't know. So moments like these that I find myself lost for words because I see too many ooh shinies. Maybe I should just keep this in there to play out my hashtag adorkable personality, whatever. Kind of like Rory from Doctor Who, because if I weren't a big enough geek already, what? I live my geekitude, or something. Yeah. Stop. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe my next vlog will be with me sitting still and not in near peak hour. I'm not sure when peak hour is here, but it's also daylight savings, and as I said, I'm new here, so I'm not used to this much noise. That's a bad thing, probably. Eventually I'll get the swing of things, mayhaps. I can find my niche here so that I can let people know about my niche as an artist or whatever, and then, or maybe I can, you know, ask my fans to vouch for me, but then that kind of goes against my whole everyone should be free to do what they want to do is. Not really one for forcing others to do something they don't want to do, so it's odd because a lot of people would rather, I follow their example, well, not a lot of people actually. Not a few people I've met over the years have said that they find my unique perspective on reality to be quite refreshing and entertaining, and pretty sure a few have said that I'm kind of like a child, but then also in a way that I'm an old soul because I have a deep wisdom or something, which isn't really showing at the moment because maybe it's because I'm doing the YouTube and I'm sort of in that in a child's mindset or whatever. So the wisdom point, I'm actually just writing it down, maybe, or maybe find a way to, like, say pearls of wisdom that still come across as adorable. Maybe I could just try. I was gonna say maybe I could just stop trying to be adorable, but if that's who I am, it's not trying. This is me. This is awkward INFJ Sigma male Orion. Nice to meet you. Unless you're already subscribed and you've been following me anyway, in which case, nice to see you again. How are you? Just friendly greetings. And also, not being a douchebag to others. It's another thing that I have not enforced over the years, but I'm a nice guy. And considering how long it took me to get here to Melbourne, mostly due to, I guess, self-confidence issues. Some may say inferiority complex, but I've come to terms with who I am and realized that I've been fine with me all along. So I'm just learning to not be so submissive and try to snap myself every now and then. Even if it seems scary, just do it anyway, because otherwise you're going to miss out, and either way you're going to regret it. So would you rather regret failing at trying to do something or regret not attempting it at all and lamenting on the fact that you didn't do the thing when you could have did the thing and held it off so long you're not even sure if you can do the thing now? And if none of that dialogue got through because boss, I apologize. I will try to remember what I said earlier and maybe throw in a few subtitles to that bit. Maybe any of the other bits where it sounded like I was mumbling or... yeah, I'll figure it out. The good thing about me is I'm good at solving the problems when they arise. So something... and this is new ground for me. So I'm mostly untested. Mostly unsure of my skills. All I know is I did a jet flight simulator earlier in the year when I was temporarily in Ballarat for reasons that are not really relevant to this video because it'll just throw off the momentum. But tried out this jet fighter simulation thing. And long story short, I did something that should be impossible for anyone who has never flown a jet before, or any kind of aircraft. So that kind of gave me a bit of a confidence boost at the time. So I can fly, sort of. Ooh, Chinatown. This is something I like about being in a big, eclectic city. there is almost always a suburb or an area which is like thematic to a culture that is different than the one you know, the one that you live in, and more often than not, it is a Chinatown. I mean, in Adelaide, their Chinatown is actually, I mean, a little bit smaller than this one, but it has central markets, which is amazing. Anyone who's in South Australia, or anyone who gets to go to Adelaide, definitely visit central markets. Maybe grab a pork bun, char siu bao, or if you're vegetarian or vegan, or you don't eat the animals, then get some that udon, maybe. My best friend's favorite dish from Japan, probably specify, or one of them at least. He loves kitsune udon. Actually, so do I. A nice bit of inari on udon with broth that probably shouldn't be consumed in large quantities because too much salt. Not really an ideal thing for a balanced diet, but in little doses, like sips, little tiny sips as you eat your udon. But then that broth is usually made with bonito, which is fish flakes, and if you don't eat meat or seafood, or if you're allergic to seafood, then that might not be the best option. I'm not really selling the idea of Asian cuisine, am I? But trust me, it's so good. So one of the things I set out to do when I moved here is to broaden my culinary palate. Try some things that I've never tried before. Ideally, I'm just gonna wait until I pass this big, refuse truck or bin truck, rubbish, whatever you'd call it. That's what that was. I just lost my train of thought. I apologize when I threw the footage again to upload this, my first blog. It's probably going to come across. Well, I'll remember it then because I've seen what I said. At the moment it's, oh look, another faux pas. I'm going to have to try to adjust my vocab. Pretty sure that's the official abbreviation of the current year, decade, millennium. I don't know. English language is so dynamic as it is, and it's always changing. I can still remember years ago when, nothing comes to mind, the slang that I heard and used in the late 90s, early 90s, or whatever, when I was originally first compelled to move here. The only thing that comes to mind is cool, and that's a mainstay. Kind of like leather jackets. But, some things are just timeless. Don't really need to change to still be in. People still say in. I don't know. So I kind of feel lost at time myself because it's like in little bits of each decade or century or whatever. Primary school, I was the weird one, which nowadays would be defined as INFJ or Sigma male. I've already stated that I'm probably man, I guess. Lone wolf with a weird yet deep view of reality that fuels my creativity and art and so on. The tendency to let my mind wander to whatever I discuss at the time, apparently. It looks like blogging is a good way for me to be true to myself, or somewhat. Ooh. Perhaps I could demonstrate some of the voices for my characters in many things I've written, because I realized all these years of writing my series that pretty much always in a script or a screenplay form, that was how I realized I prefer portraying the characters more than actually writing about them. Which means the novel series that I've been writing is now probably going to be an audio drama series of sorts. Because with the format, it's probably going to have to be an audio drama, because, spoiler alert, there are songs, and the character who is just a blatant rip-off of the author, who was known as the author insert or author avatar, actually sings in a few episodes. So look forward to that, I suppose. And I suppose, like, if it's not actually filmed or live, that's a good starting point for me to sort of flex my vocals. And so far I've written a playbook of 9 songs specifically for the series, which is called Mathematical. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and each of the songs is themed around a certain number. But there's probably going to be a bonus 10th song based on a lullaby that's shown in Or perhaps I could just get over it and sing anyway. We'll see. I've never really sung before, but I have potential. Apparently I have good rhythms, so that's a good starting point. So I just need to practice, but a lot of the time if I try something, I master it in relatively little time, but then INFJ, probably the reason or justification I would use for picking up on things quickly and always trying to downplay my talent. It's ironic because, like, even with the jet fighter simulation, the fact that I was somehow able to land the thing on, like, my second go over, it was still the first attempt, but it took one arc for me to turn around, try again, and get it almost perfect for my first time. I found a way to somehow undermine myself more than I should have. So, it is what it is.
Same.
I think what it is. I suppose this is what I need. Come out of my shell, and the more I crawl out, the more visible I become to others around me. I don't know. And people notice me for who I truly am, or at least the layers that they can see, because the advocates are very, very deep. Have layers, although in my case, not like onions, because I can't stand onion, and also I am not a green fictional ogre. I mean, I'm half Scottish, but I don't dare practice the accent, especially not in public, because I kind of picked up my mother's disdain for horribly attempted Scottish accents from non-Scots. May run in the family, because I think one of my aunties is also uncomfortable with that. So I learned to be careful, which is ironic, because one of the characters in Crystals of Silveria, Thoburn, is a mountain dwarf, and he has a very thick Glaswegian sounding accent. Makes it somewhat uncomfortable when I read through those scripts with my friend, like the friend I mentioned before, because it ends up sounding like a hot mess. But as when my other auntie says, no danger, not a problem. And as my friend says, you can do what you can do. A veritable fountain or font of inspiring, inspirational quotes, I guess. Wow, it's already the 35-minute mark. I'm thinking maybe I should pick this up soon. I don't want to try to push myself too quickly, unless this is how people have discovered in what I believe is the arts capital of Australia, at least according to my friend, my year 12 art teacher. Art excursion to Adelaide. I believe he's the one who said Adelaide isn't really well known for artists. If you want to pursue the arts or acting or music or anything like that, go to Melbourne. But Adelaide's scene is still decent. And it is actually, I mean, the architecture in Adelaide is quite good. I mean, there's still sort of a blend of architecture and nature, as I mentioned before, with Melbourne, of Melbourne. But it's less symbiotic, I guess, and more scattered. It's like there are big chunks of nature and big chunks of like buildings and shopping centres, and of course Rundle Mall, which is famous for its sculpture, which is essentially a pair of large silver objects. I'll let you find out for yourself, because I gotta set myself some down. Yeah. Trying to get clutch. Suppose I might offer some bubble tea shortly. Oh, one thing I've learned since coming to Melbourne, apparently everyone here, or for the most part, most people, are so dedicated to this cup of Joe. For those of you who are thinking, who's Joe? Are you Marina of the Swit Sisters? In which case... Sorry, Marie. Marie of the... Yeah, it's been a hectic day-ish. Hectic-ish day. Yeah. To the point, it's to the point where as much as you'd think that Melbourne is the arts capital of Australia, it may also be the capital of Australia for top quality barista-made coffee. Can't really take two steps here without tripping over a top-class, top-notch cafe. To the point where a lot of these places don't actually have coffee menus. So it's expected that you know exactly what to order, so that you don't come across as an adorable fool like this fool. Not really been a big coffee drinker, so but you know, once I find the right posse, no, people don't say that anymore. What am I thinking? Totally come across as a 90s kid now, don't I? I mean, I was born in the late 80s, but most of my early memories are of the 1990s, so I see myself more as a 90s kid. I was mostly absent for the first few years of my life. So it took a little bit of a time period for that photographic memory of mine to properly kick in, and then somehow be partly absent during adolescence, puberty, whatever, only to kick in recently again. So, again, better late than never. I'm not sure if better late than never applies if I had it before and then lost it and found or regained it again, but... Well, now you've seen ANFJ babble firsthand. Those of you who are the other 15 MBTI archetypes, we've never encountered a real INFJ before. We exist. Yes, we are rare, but we are still prevalent. And we have layers. have layers like an INFJ with more layers than can be properly identified. Something. Yeah. Anyway, I think now's as good a time as any to wrap this up. And those of you who are still watching, thank you. You are so dear to me for putting up with my mindless babble for in excess of 40 minutes. Those of you who kind of logged out before now, thank you. You are also dear to me for at least attempting to put up with my mindless babble, but didn't hear this word of thanks, so maybe someone else will pass it on my behalf and then come back and hear it firsthand, but that's up to you.
Lucky just followed you.
You're free to watch what you would like to watch. If it is not me, then you have other interests, and that's fine. You go and watch one of the other YouTubers, like Chatter Fan. Some of my favorites. Well, let's see. M&J TV. If you are into Pokemon and you don't watch Michael's content, why not? Have you not heard of him? Seriously, watch some of his stuff. Topics I would recommend for a first timer on his channel: Pokemon Talk, the various sketches that he does. I recommend Pokemon types in a nutshell, whatever it's called. As Peter Pine. I know how to say it, I know how to spell it. And I would say its alternate title, but I can't really clap at the moment because I've got an iPod Touch in one hand. Yes, I'm using an iTouch to record this. Making do with what I have for now. I'm a beginning amateur professional freelance artist, actor thing. And my other hand is just a scar in the shape of a wishbone, the winning half of wishbone, Lucky Break, which I kind of got on my hand, I think when I was 5, 6, 7 years old. One of those years in primary school. Went to class early that morning, didn't realize someone had thrown a brick or pebble or whatever it was through the window from the outside, raining glass everywhere on the carpet, and innocent little me sitting on the carpet, ready for school, first one, teacher's pets, ready to learn and have fun and somehow point out all of the teacher's mistakes and undermine their entire curriculum. Yeah. Because INFJ. Yeah. And place my hand on the carpet. And my next thought was, why does my hand feel wet? Looked at my hand and then thought, oh wow, that's blood. And then cued the screaming. This scar is its legacy. Alright, if you'd like to see it, if it shows up, let's see. It's almost like a mystical Harry Potter-esque scar. And considering I acquired it in my youth, which like Mr. Potter did himself, and yeah, I mean I doubt it's a Horcrux, but then again it could be connected to something. There are many mysteries in this world, some of them unsolved. No one knows if there actually is a Bigfoot or a Loch Ness Monster or a large city that doesn't have a Starbucks or something, I don't know. Oh. They didn't infringe any copyright there. So if I did, I mean, I'll probably just maybe censor that out with something else. And that way I can have fun with editing. And another possibly necessary skill for a freelancer. up for now. Hopefully time to be spacing out, but this actually tends to happen a lot at the end of my videos anyway, so